Hello and welcome. This is BQ Prime. I'm Agam Vakil, and we are tracking earnings for the quarter. This time, we have Paras Defense and Space Engineering joining us on the show. Well, it's been a good quarter coming through. Of course, we must remember that there is a bit of seasonality in the business, especially when it comes to execution as well as the order flow. And especially the last couple of quarters, Q4 particularly, is a relatively larger one as compared to the rest. Yet, we have seen growth come through for the quarter on a year-on-year basis for Q2. And besides that, we are looking at, margins being stable, as well as a good 8% increase in your profitability on a year-on-year basis. To talk us through what's happened as far as this quarter is concerned, as well as what we can expect going forward, well, we are in conversation at the moment with Amit Mahajan. He is the Director of Technical and R&D at Paras Defense and Space Technologies. Amit, good afternoon, and thank you so much for joining in. Let me start by asking you about not just this quarter, but your first half in terms of your assessment. How have things been? Are they up to par with your expectations, and what can we expect going forward?
Good afternoon, Agam. Firstly, let me wish you a very happy Diwali to begin with, and thank you for having me on the show. If you ask me about the first half that has gone by, I would not have any complaints for two reasons. One, the execution is on course. We have been able to kind of distribute the eventual revenue over the first three quarters, not efficiently though, but yes, it has been being distributed in Q1, Q2, Q3. However, Q4 still will always remain the heaviest quarter of the lot. What has also been on course is the second reason why I'm also satisfied is the order inflow. So in spite of this execution of these orders, we are still holding on to a good, handsome 600 crore worth of order book on hand. What is encouraging, and that's something for the upcoming months and years to the business, is the funnel that we have, the opportunities that are growing in front of us. And I'm talking about opportunities where we have a probability of 60 to 90% of winning. So we're not talking about just opportunities in the air where we have not yet in the contention, and we're not talking about all of that. When we're talking about these opportunities, which are 60 to 90%, they are in excess of 2,000 crores. Now, that's something which is very encouraging for the business.
Right. So, Amit, if I get this straight, 600 crores of orders in hand at the moment, an opportunity of around 2,000 crores, and you expect to get a majority of that. Amit, your earnings have been given in two segments. One is the optics and optronic systems, and the other one, of course, is defense engineering. My question really is that in terms of your current order book, how would you split this into these two segments? And also going forward in terms of opportunities, how would both these segments play out for you?
So optics and optronic systems are, this segment is a high profit generating segment, wherein the defense engineering is a relatively lesser profit generating, but higher volume. So both of these put together, currently the mix has always been 50-50. And looking at the order book and also looking at the opportunity, we will maintain that optics and optronic systems will constitute to about 50%, and the defense engineering, the rest of the business, which is defense engineering, will constitute to the remaining 50%.
Okay. Amit, also, the fifth indigenization list, which came out recently, had many more items when it comes to optics and optronic systems in general. We spoke to you, in fact, about 3 or 4 weeks ago, and you had said that you are still awaiting a more clarity in terms of what kind of items, can be catered to as far as Paras Defense is concerned. Do we have any more clarity here in this case? I'm just trying to understand the scope of this particular list for Paras at the moment.
So more and more systems, as they get included in the positive indigenization list, you will find that there will be a lot more optical systems. If you see the optical market in India over the last 5 to 10 years has been huge, and most of that market was being catered by imports. What this government has started doing is slowly but steadily have you can say, diverted the imports to indigenous manufacturing. Now, when we try to do indigenous manufacturing, there has to be an industry which can absorb this and which can deliver the quality that a foreign supplier is doing. Paras Defense has been a guiding light when I'm uh, in respect to the optics and the optronic systems, and we have been there in this business for over 10 years. We have exported our systems, and we are still doing exports in the optics domain, not just in the Europe and the Middle East part, but we are also exporting to US. So you can imagine the kind of quality that we are. If you are in the supply chain of the United States, you can imagine that your quality is right up there. When we are at this level, it gives enough confidence to the government that yes, the Indian industry is geared up to take more and more challenges, and hence I will be very, very what do you say, satisfied or very hopeful that the kind of items that they have included in this list, in the fifth list, are very ambitious ones, and that shows the government's confidence in the Indian industry. Industries like Paras, where we have very, very niche core strengths in terms of electromagnetic pulse protection, in terms of RF microwave, in terms of defense electronics, and the largest of them all is optics and optronic systems. We stand to gain a lot from these positive indigenization base.
Right.
Optics and
Yep.
electronic systems definitely have a bright future. And as much as you can today see as an import being happening, that is the kind of opportunity size that is there for the Indian industry.
Right. Amit, of course, naturally, your largest client will be government, defense, and space agencies. But if I'm not mistaken, you have about 10 to 20% of your revenues also coming in from exports. I want to understand a little bit about your client profile out there as well, and what sort of scope is there for expansion. I'm sure you would certainly look forward to diversifying more than just a handful of clients.
So yes, it's a very tricky. Company should always look at when it comes to their business in terms of diversification or growth and all the other reasons. When it comes to defense, let me tell you that India is one of the biggest importers of defense technology and one of the largest defense markets that are there in the world. So if you take top three, I think if I'm not mistaken, we are amongst the top three when it comes to defense market. Now, when I'm sitting here and this market is out there to give me priority of procurement, I don't need to go anywhere else.
Right.
If I look at Europe, if I look at the Israels, or if I look at Far East, if I look at America, they have their own supply chain which is established. When they look at an Indian supplier, they will be looking at the best quality, world-class quality at Indian prices, wherein I am here expected to deliver world-class quality at prices that I can make profits out of. So and it's in my home ground. So it's my first priority always will be domestic. Yes, and when I'm saying this, I do not negate that we will not do exports. We want to do exports, okay, but the focus currently is in the domestic market because the maximum opportunity lies in the domestic market.
Fair enough. All right. A lot of investors are also just a tad confused often because they don't know enough about how the sector works. But you had said earlier on in our conversations as well that Q4 is your largest quarter. You had also earlier alluded to the fact that there's a possibility of about a 30% growth in terms of your revenues. Of course, that number is lacking at the moment, but I reckon that because of your latter quarters are much larger, you would make up for it. My question really is one, that do you stand by your projection of about a 30-35% growth going forward for this entire financial year, as well as margins? Would you be able to keep them about 26-27%?
Yes, we stand by our growth trajectory of 30-35%. And we
Right.
also stand by that we will sustain the margins that we did, in terms of percentage, we will sustain the margins like they were last year.
Okay.
If at all, slightly better. Sorry.
No worries, no worries. Okay, that makes sense. Amit, on that note, on that positive note, we leave it at that. Thank you so much for joining in and taking the time out to taking us through your earnings as well as what we can expect going forward. Once again, wish you the very best, as well as a happy Diwali and a prosperous New Year to you.
Thank you so much, Agam. Wonderful talking to you.
I wish everyone at BQ Prime a very happy Diwali and very festive season ahead. And thank you very much for having me here. It has been a pleasure to be here with you.